Greetings YouTube. This bargain video will begin outside. I've got these 6 pieces of L bracket. I think they're about 5 feet long. And I got them for nothing. They were on somebody's driveway with a sign next to them free. I figure I can do something with these L brackets. I can build brackets, support beams, I can for storage and stuff like that. Maybe build a small shelf, who knows. But for free, can't really beat that. We have another outdoor shot. This is a bookshelf which I have purchased at a yard sale for the purpose of a stand for sanders or grinders. I'll obviously use the bottom for storage, but it's solid wood so I can bolt things to the top safely. And on top of it is a set of Fiskars shears, which we actually saw online. My wife was interested in getting a pair. Kind of cool because you can rotate these to get different angles. Here's the lock up here, and then you just clip them there. Yep. And they go. And they actually do work. So they need to be cleaned up a little on the rough side. And then you just lock them up. You're not using them. And we picked those up at an estate sale for $2. And they're normally like $25 online. So we're like, cool. And I got the bookshelf for $10. Yeah, not bad for a solid wood bookshelf. But I'm taking the shot outside because very shortly it's going into the basement. The lighting down there is not so great. So, next step, indoors. Greetings YouTube. Time for another bargain video. This one at the end of our vacation. So we have 2 magazines. The 25th anniversary of Nature magazine, which was printed in 1948, and an issue from 1947. I've already looked at these and I will pass these on. I just wanted to take a look at them and see what they were like. I thought it was kind of cool to see how the magazine looked at that time. I imagine the current magazine has got far more ads in it than this did. And the photography was pretty decent, and the overall quality was quite high. I may do a video about these before I get rid of them. Then we have Arthur Spiderwick's Field Guide to the Fantastical World Around You, which is from the film, I believe, because I've never read any of the books, but I have seen the film and I kind of enjoyed it. And I thought it was nice to have an alternative look at many of the classical monsters that we have seen in legends and such. And again, I'll probably do an in-depth video about that. And speaking of monsters, we have Monster Mania, werewolves, ghosts, and vampires, and this has a concentration on these 3 different creatures and classes of creature and different varieties that there are, and this is from the Scholastic line of monster books. And we have a new book at Bargello, the Florentine Needlepoint Stitch book, which I got for my wife and our friend Felicia, because both of them do fiber arts. Then we have issues 2 through 10 of the Max. Now, my wife is missing some of the issues. I wasn't sure which one she was missing. So I figured I'd pick these up. I got them for $1 a piece. So even any ones that she already has, we will just donate these. And then we have a graphic novel called The Small, and it says, soon to be a major motion picture. And I've never heard of this, so I'm questioning whether it was a major motion picture. The premise being that something causes all of humanity to shrink down to 6 inches tall. Yeah, it's fantasy, but maybe it'd be interesting, and it could be inspirational for a role-playing game. Then we have another graphic novel, which is Doom Patrol, a painting, the painting that ate Paris, and this is by Grant Morris, who is well regarded in the comics world, and I haven't read any Doom Patrol in a very long time, and at one time I was a fan long ago when the Doom Patrol was just introduced. Next we have Magic, Witchcraft, and Religion, an anthropological study of the supernatural, the 7th edition. I got that at a thrift shop. It's a great cover. It's got some really nice masks on there. Then we have Folk Tales 2, Helen Snell, Newmeyer, B. Thorpe. And my wife is a fan of the style of graphic and of folk tales in general, and she's working on a kid's book, so I thought this might be of interest to her, and it was. Then we have Documentary, a history of the non-fiction film, and this is printed in '83, so it's going to be covering non-fiction films up through that time period. I got it for $1, so it might make a nice read. Then we have a reference book, Hidden in New England, So my wife and I are always looking for interesting things to do, and this may give us some inspiration. And speaking of folk tales, we have Rip Van Winkle, or the Strange Men of the Mountains, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, or the Headless Horseman by Washington Irving. And again, it has some nice graphics. On to section 2. This Scythe book. I own a scythe. I actually don't know how to use it, so I thought this book might help. We have another copy of Reviving Ophelia and Lies My Teacher Told Me, and both of these books are purchased specifically to give to a coworker, so they're going to be going out as soon as I go back to work. The Color book, or Color, which is a natural history of the palate. I love these single-focus books, so I thought that might be interesting. The Old Masters, New World, Americans' Raid on Europe's Great Pictures, and The Lives of the Muses, 9 Women and the Artists They Inspired. And I picked up all 3 of these books at an estate sale. Then we have Gulliver's Travel, and this is the Norton Critical Edition, revised. Interestingly, when I was looking for a copy of this, most of them were running in like the $25 to $28 range. I picked this up for a penny, plus shipping. I don't care if it's an earlier copy. First of all, I really like the cover art. But the thing is how old this story is. I'm okay if it's not the latest edition. Now we have some DVDs. We have Creepshow. We have Eraser, which is just a really silly movie. I hadn't seen that in ages. Then we have Octopussy, which is so cheesy. Oh, it's horrible. I love Roger Moore. I think I have a great fondness in my heart for him. But it's a very cheesy film. And I listened to the commentary track he did. And mostly he was disappointed with the way people dress nowadays. Next we have Nomad, which is also known as The Warrior. And this is about the Cossacks and their prophesied leader that was supposed to lead them into a new era of freedom. And the pacing was just very slow. You could tell you were supposed to become emotionally engaged in the film, and you just didn't. But it was very pretty. Then we have The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. We have Limitless, which is about a man that takes a drug to make himself better and smarter and such. In some ways similar to the film Lucy, but this came first. I haven't seen it yet. And we have Cyborg 2, The Future Beware. The Soul is in the Software. And I actually can remember seeing this movie. It's very cheesy. I look forward to seeing it again. Then we have a film called Deep Core, which I didn't know a whole lot about. I got it for $1. It looks kind of cheese-tastic, and so I thought I'd give it a try. And then we have Sean Connery in Zardoz. And I am not giving anything away about this film, because my wife can hear me at the moment, and I want her to see it in all its glory. Then we have some cards, which my wife liked. Got $2, got a package of cards. Then we have an owl mask, which we're going to put up on the wall. We picked that up as part of a Halloween sale. Then I have a big bag of blue marbles, which I plan on using as ammo. I paid $1 for a very large bag of marbles. So that would be perfect. I need to make sure I set up a rig so that I can catch the marbles, because I do plan on making a slingshot of some variety in the near future. I don't want to leave them on the lawn, so my wife does not suck them up with the lawnmower. Then we have this marvelous cup. It shows a pilgrim being hung. And the back is, there are several reasons for drinking, and one has just entered my head. If a man can't drink when he's living, how the hell can he drink when he's dead? And this was printed in England, and this is a piece of Carlton ware, and I purchased this specifically to give to the mortician on Ask a Mortician. I don't know if she has a P.O. box. I have contacted her because I'd like to send this to her. Then we have some bells, and this one says from Vermont, and it says best wishes in it. It is a Sarna bell. Then we have this one, which is an egg cup, and also a bell. Again, it's a Sarna piece. And then we have another one, which is a Merry Christmas bell, but it's shaped like a very traditional cowbell and has a nice tone. Then we have this little gadget, and the people who sold it to me didn't know what it was. It cost me $1. This is a tool for magnetizing or demagnetizing a screwdriver to hold on to screws and such. I figured that it might as well belong to someone who knew what it was. Then we have a bag of figures where I paid $2 for this, and I purchased specifically because that right there, folks, is a rust monster. On to section 3. Here we have a couple of cat food bowls, which we picked up at a thrift shop for my mother-in-law. She needs some, I guess, for $1 a piece. Can't go wrong there. Then we have a couple of IKEA shoehorns, which I plan on turning into atlatls, and I got 2. They're only 99 cents a piece, which is a nice price, which is why they're in my deal bargain. So in case I screw one up, I've got a backup. And they look like snakes, which makes me smile. Because of this, it'll actually make it easier to grip it for the using it as an atlatl. And they are sitting on this spiffy purple television tray, like a TV tray you use across your lap or in bed or something, which I picked up for $6 at IKEA, because there are times I sit in the office with my wife while she's on the PC and I use my laptop, which I had been using on top of the cat food container, which is a little inconvenient, and the cats surround me when I do it. So I'll use it on this instead, and it folds up nice and neat, and I can get it out of the way when I don't want it. And in case I need a laptop table for bed or the sofa or something, I've got one. And it was on sale, so I couldn't lose. It's a really cool color. We have a brush for polishing shoes. I picked it up at an estate sale. I actually kind of needed one. Then we have this hammer, and anyone want to guess what this is? Okay, I'm going to count to 3, and then I'm going to tell you. 1, 2, 3. This is a leatherworking hammer designed for people that work on heavy leather and saddles and such. I don't do that, but it was cool, and I have an affection for hammers. Then we have a blade for a weed whacker. Yep, there we go. So you can see the actual edge. And I'm going to sharpen it up and use it as a throwing star, because that's how I think. And I picked this up. This is a T-handled reamer, which I actually think will be very useful to me. I paid full price for it, but it was only $3 at Harbor Freight, which is a really good deal. And there have been times when using this would have actually made my life a lot easier than having to re-drill a hole. So that could save me some headaches in the future. Then we have this box of hooks. Now there are hooks like this. There are screw-in hooks. There are hooks that are designed to be used as bolts because they have flat ends and they're machine screws. There are coat hooks. And there's these weird hooks like this and like this. They're just some really cool, strange hooks in this thing. And I picked this up for $5 at an estate sale. And I've already put 2 of the hooks to use. So there you go. And I often find myself needing eye bolts and hooks for projects. And now I got an entire box of them. And at the same estate sale, I got this, and I picked this up. They are selling these things, so I use them to hold stuff. And we have a ball bearing, a large one, because that makes me smile. I like spheres. My wife's like, here you go, honey. Handed it to me, and I'm like, yep, it does. It's cool. I'm taking that home. This is a saw handle, which I am going to use for a project. So I actually have a use for a saw handle without a saw blade. And this guy had an entire shelf of bottles with labels on them. He was very well organized. These are large bolts, wood bolts, so lag bolts, so I got those. These are more hooks. These are S hooks, which can be useful. Very, very useful. And then this are rings. Also can be useful for projects. And I picked up this box for $5 as well. So again, $10 got me a lot of hardware which I can use in the future. Now we have an actual Stetson. I never owned a Stetson before, and this is known as the Gun Club model. It actually has a small firearm on the hat band, a little pin. And it just fits my head. My head is somewhat oddly shaped, so this hat is actually fits my wife as well as me, so she could wear it as well as I guess. And it came in this very nice hat box. The hat box has a little bit of wear and things on it, but at least it'll let me put it in something that will be relatively safe. And I'm going to put some like lavender in there to help keep away bugs. And this was originally from Knox of New York. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if that store is still in existence or not. I should probably do a little research. But I never owned a Stetson before, and now I do. So I was quite pleased with that. And I can have something I can store it in and keep it safe and keep it from getting crushed, which is also nice. And we have one more section today. And we're going to close out with some garments. We have 2 plain t-shirts, which my wife picked up on sale, one in blue and one in orange. I believe she's going to use these as workout shirts. Then we have this, which is a pixelated Star Wars character shirt. Chewbacca, R2-D2, Luke, and Yoda. Funny thing is, my father gave this to me, and he's like, it's an extra large, so it might be a little big on you. It's a boy's extra large. It does not fit me. However, my wife can use it, and it's the baseball jersey style. So he picked it up. It's got I don't know where he got it from. He probably picked it up for a song, because he's a bargain hunter as well. But my wife now has a Star Wars t-shirt. And we have a pair of Croft and Barrow. Yeah, Croft and Barrow, I think there's the brand. They're cargo pants. And they're pretty nice. They fit well. And I'm always looking for a good pair of cargo pants. I found those at a thrift shop. We have a gray sweater, which I actually squeezed in here real quick because my wife is currently working on her Halloween costume at the time of this filming. And that is part of her Halloween costume. And then we have a Columbia brand shirt, which is in very nice quality, and it has external pockets, so it's kind of like a light jacket, and it really fits my wife well. It's got a light lining, and we got this at a thrift shop for a song. They did not really know what they had. Columbia makes nice stuff, so we're going to make sure I don't hurt that when I wash it. Cold wash, no drying. I don't dry most of my shirts I wear. Most of the shirts I wear, I hang dry. A key to, if anyone who wants to know, you want to keep your t-shirts looking good, wash them inside out, hang dry them. Do not put them into a tumble dryer. I have t-shirts I've been wearing for 28 years. So you can keep a shirt going for a very long time if you wash it and treat it carefully. So there you go, folks. This has been This Bargain Video.